Here we are at a bilingual newspaper for Sonoma County, Lavoz. This is the remodeled site, and before we delve too deeply into it, I'd like to take you to the original site. Now, upon visiting the site, I felt that there were some issues with regards to navigation. Here's our navigation, and normally you would have the navigation be a little bit higher up on the page. I noticed this cat was prominently featured at the site and was a link. And when I went to that site, I visited a page about a dog, so I was a little confused by that. And then as I explored the site further, I found that we had a very long page. It just kept going and going and going down the left-hand side of the page. Lots and lots of pictures, and the pictures, I'm sure, were very useful and very helpful to the community that they serve, but the layout of the page, you don't want to have just one column that goes all the way down. So I made a note that we would need to do something to handle all the images in a more efficient manner. And I thought we would probably take many of them off the home page. As I went back to the top of the page, I started to look at the navigation a little bit more closely. I went to our staff, and there I see the staff, but what I'm not seeing is a header with the name of the publication. So it's important that folks see the same thing at the top of every page so it looks consistent and that the title of the organization is listed. So we were going to fix that. Here's subscribe, and subscribe's similar. This is a little bit higher up, but again we've got lavoz, but it's not a header graphic, and I'm noticing that we have these items of navigation: staff, subscribe, advertise, where to get it, and then an art sale catalog. But when I go to the home page, there's a classified link that I hadn't seen earlier, and there's a California history pages, and the art online doesn't seem to be here. So we're going to have to make a consistent navigational system. And then the final thing I did was just scroll down and see if I could get the paper, and I noticed that here, when I click on this, I received a PDF, so that was encouraging. When I click on this, there is no hotspot. Now if I go down here, I get a hotspot, and here there's no hotspot again, and I have to go up to get that hotspot. So it just seemed to me like we needed to make everything uniform. All of the images of the PDFs would need to be hot, or none of them would be hot, and they would all have text links. Okay, now we know what the issues are. Let's take a look at the remodel. So as I view this remodel, I see that we have the logo, which was supplied to us by the client, and then we have a bar of navigation here along the left, and some of it has pull downs for those areas that have more than one category. And as I go from page to page, I see that that's consistent. I'm at the Read Lavoz section, and I can see the logo, and I can see the same navigation I saw on the home page. Same is true for gallery, advertise, about us, and contact. So that's a welcome revision. It's important to have consistent navigation from section to section. As I return to the home page, I want to take a look at the use of images and see if we've made it a little bit cleaner. So here we have a slideshow, which I'm assuming will change as pictures are added. And then we have images along the left and right here. And then as I scroll down, another set of images, and then it ends. And I actually think this is a good compromise. There isn't as much information on this page as the original, but it's certainly cleaner and easier to digest. We also have a footer at the bottom of the page with the same exact navigation as we had at the top, so that folks don't have to scroll up to proceed through the site. Now let's take a look at these PDFs. This is the current version, and I'm seeing that there is no link, but that there is a text link here. And when we scroll down, there's no link, but there's a text link here. So it's consistent, and that's what I was hoping for. Now, let's take a look at reading past versions of lavoz. As I go here, I see that this is the current issue. Let's take a look at previous issues and see if it's consistent. Now, this is a link, and it does load the file, okay. And this is a link, and it does load, but it was not linked in the home page. So I would, as I always critique sites after they're created, I would have advised the team to either have a text link here, which I guess they have that up here, but I would have had them have since this thumbnail is hot here, I would have had the thumbnail be hot on the home page. Now let's take a look at the gallery, because that was a big concern. I felt like there were way too many images on the home page, and they were placed on this gallery. And so what we have here are little thumbnails, and they can be added to as time progresses. And then you don't need to see all these images on the home page. Now, my critique of this page, which I shared with the interactive media developer, is I would have had all of these thumbnails be the exact same size. I would have had them resized so that they were all the same height and width. They seem to indicate that the client wanted the images kept exactly as they were on Flickr. And where I had the most trouble with that was right in here where we have these double images and these triple images. That to me is distracting, and it makes the gallery look a little less professional. But overall, I think this is a good compromise. Now, I probably would not have recommended putting a lot of text on this area. I probably would have just had images, and then when they go to the Flickr, seeing if you could add some text, but that may not be possible with Flickr, I'm not sure. One of the most significant changes was the staff page. Now, at the original site, we have this cat that links to the dog page, and that's a pretty significant navigational item. This is the largest element in the navigation, and why a cat would link to a dog was something I didn't really understand. So I was delighted to see that the mascot, Rosie, the little doggie, was given a place of importance on the staff page, but that the navigation and the amount of information about the dog was downplayed. I always think it's important when you are putting out a professional publication that your personal hobbies and interests take a back seat to the professional segment of the website, which is the newspaper and the advertising, the places you can get the paper, those types of issues. Finally, I wanted to just mention where the inspiration for this design came from. We asked the client to identify some websites they liked, and one that they selected was New American Media. And this site was acceptable to the team. It met my design standards, and I think it was an excellent choice. I really like the gray color here in the header. I think it is much easier to put a lot of bright pictures on the screen when you have a neutral. And this is a very attractive gray. Gray can sometimes be blah, but this has kind of a blue undertone to it. It's quite nice. And one of the things that makes it interesting is it's not just a solid block of gray. It's has a silhouette of the continents behind it and these kind of light white lines, which I think give it some visual interest. And it made it easy for the lavoz logo to display, and for all the bright colors in the photographs to be complemented by the neutral gray. Now, I do want to mention one other thing that I sent the designer as a critique of the website, and that is the navigation. In the original navigation, we have these little lines here, and those signify the different navigational items, and they kind of break up the text. And I felt that in the website that was created for the client, that wasn't carried through, and that would have helped a little bit. I found read lavoz and gallery and events all kind of blurred into a sentence, and so I recommended that the designer either put more blank space between each item or install a vertical separator. That was never done because the site was never used, and that's the unfortunate ending to this story. Although this is one of the most attractive websites produced in the program and one of the most dramatic remodels because the content on the original site had some serious challenges, the client decided not to use the site, and so this video is the only time you'll see this website. I think the students did an excellent job, and sometimes the client has an aha moment at the very end and wants to take the site in an entirely new direction, and there just isn't time and resources to do that. From each of the students, I heard that they did learn a lot from this website, even though it isn't live at the moment, and I'm hoping they will carry those lessons through in their professional career. I'm very proud of all of them, and I think they did an outstanding job.